Hi everyone, how are you? Welcome to my channel. It's Shelly from Crafty Cottage Dreams. I have 3 more French document Savannah Rose journals to share with you today, and they're very similar to the ones I've created previously. So let's get started. Let's see. I'm going to measure these. They come with a long tall journal, and there are no digitals used. The only digitals that I used, which are always for the front cover of my Savannah Rose journals, my tall Savannah Rose journals, are Sharon Hearth's French documents. I will list her link down below in the description box. So of course they are 11, usually by 4, yes, and the baby journal is 7.5 by 3.5. And they are all the same length and width. So let's get started. I feel like my desk is like way overloaded. All right, one thing at a time. What I'm gonna do is pretty much show one and then quickly go through the others. So here we have it. I did wrap it in this beautiful lace crocheted vintage doily. Actually collar, it's a collar, I'm sorry. And of course it's always adorned with my signature fox rose, and we're gonna take that right out. If I can, there we go. And we have a pink ball pin with a vintage glass bead holding this collar together. And then we have some beautiful sari silk and lettuce, and it's beautiful. And we have this beautiful little dangle here in pearl beads on a pink ball pin in sequins. And I also used all of Esme's laces, which I will post her link also down below in the description box. So pretty. So I want to try to get through this as quickly as possible. My daughter will be stopping by with my grandson shortly. And hopefully I can get it done before they pop in. So I'm just going to slide this right off. And this is a beautiful, beautiful collar. It is so gorgeous. Esme's looking into getting me some more with that beautiful vintage glass button. And here is the front cover. I just love it. It's in like the very vintage olive green color with creams and pinks. And here we have Esme's beautiful applique with pearls and rhinestones. And then we have, I call it my Savannah Rose brooch. So beautiful. Can you see that? How gorgeous that is? And I did some stitching with some pink thread all along the journal. It's gorgeous. I stamped Savannah Rose down here, and using Sampool's stamp up there. And of course we have the document style binding. And of course I always have to use my masking tape because, yeah, like I said, I'm kind of obsessed. So we're going to go through it, and I use Sampool's stamp down here as well. It's just so pretty. And this is Esme's gorgeous, gorgeous applique there. It's so pretty. She has some more for me. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. And she's looking into getting some other things for me. And inside, I use this vintage wallpaper. As you can see, the stitching. So pretty. I love it. And this is all filled with French papers, antique ledgers, let's see, like receipts and documents, and it's just, I love it. So here, I'm just gonna flip through the pages. This is dated 1890. Hope you guys can see well enough. And this just does a flip out. This is in 1890. Let's see if I can find the date on this one. I'm not entirely sure. 9/2/49. It's all in French. Look at that handwriting. I love it. And then we have some vintage music paper, antique ledger, which is blank. You can certainly journal on. And I used this vintage wallpaper. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. And my pink heart clips that I used up here. And I have a little ticket that I stamped and added a beautiful little, it's Esme's applique flower with pearls. And that just sticks right up there. And we have this beautiful lace. And I made a pocket. Look at that vintage wallpaper. And I have an ephemera card here. Isn't she beautiful? And then we have some French papers. And it just sits right in this pocket. These are old. I want to be careful sticking them in there. And then here I just used a flash card. And I sprayed it with Tim Holtz spray in that tattered rose. Use sample stamp here on the bottom. I love it against the cream and the pink with that pink splatter. And then I just added a little cream applique with the lightest pink flower. I love my pink. I ran out. I used up all my pink. I have to get more heart clips there. We have a French letter. Sorry silk right on the top there. French book page. And again, I used Amity Bloom's washi tape just for that pop of color. I think her washi tape is beautiful. And I hope she gets more. Antique ledger, French letter with some sari silk, Amity Bloom washi tape, 1849 antique ledger, French book pages, Amity Bloom washi tape. Here we have another pocket, which I sewed. I sewed all along the side of these pockets with this vintage wallpaper. Isn't Esme's lace beautiful? It's pink. And then I have this ephemera card here. And then I created this little tag. And that sits right in. Look at that wallpaper. It's so beautiful. And that just sits right in there. And then here I created a beautiful tag using here's my pink heart clip. I love it, paper clip. Created a tag using those time cards. I just did some collaging with some French book page there, vintage music paper, and added this vintage wallpaper. Added a beautiful applique with a mocha rose. It's so pretty. And I did some stitching along the side. And that clips right up there. And then we have this beautiful, it's very fragile. I'm gonna set that aside. French, I'm not sure what it is actually, but it's wicked cool. Some vintage music paper, some antique ledger from an antique ledger book that I have. It's blank, you could certainly journal on. Antique letter. And I ensured I used masking tape on anything that was fragile for added stability. Emily Bloom washi tape up there. And it looks like this is from 11/13/05. And it looks like some mathematical notes. And this is the main attraction. This is a very old French. I have a couple more of these, and that is it. I don't know the date, but I know it's very old, in the 1800s. Early 1800s. It's fragile though. So that's our main attraction. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that penmanship. Sorry silk on the side here. Emily Bloom's washi tape. Some ledger. And then I have this beautiful vintage. Look at that flower. It's embossed and it's just gorgeous. It's an old postcard. Let's see if I can find a date. It has the original stamp for 1 cent. July 21st, 1909. I'm not going to read it. Whoever is the proud owner of this journal can certainly read it. And then on the other side, we have this old French. I can't read it, so I'm not entirely sure what it is. June 1920. Like some sort of, I'm not really sure. But it's wicked cool. And that tucks right in there. Some vintage, I love this stamp up here. Music paper, French book paper, very fragile, which flips out. Emily Bloom washi tape. And we have this beautiful cabinet card. And it is blank. It just says 5p up there. I don't know what that means. And of course I used my pink heart clips throughout this journal. Here is that vintage wallpaper. Beautiful pocket I did sew. And on the inside you have some more, a couple more of those French papers. And we have this ephemera card. French paper, French book page, that antique ledger, very old letter, antique, well, vintage, year 1932, antique paper, French book page, French letter with some sari silk on the top, and we have this beautiful card here. It's Tribunal House, Glastonbury. I'm not really sure. And it says pencil etch. So it was created in pencil. It's very beautiful. And that clips right there. You can see my fancy stitching. Here's that beautiful lace pocket from Esme's Laces. And I love, I just want to show you this wallpaper. Isn't it gorgeous? I love it. And inside I have an embossed ephemera tag with some sari silk, and then we have French vocabulary card. I just put a Tim Holtz bread up there with one of Esme's little snippets, and that tucks right in there. Some ledger, and then we have this very old, has the original rusted And I don't want to open it because it's kind of attached. I'm not sure what it is, but it's very cool. And that just clips very carefully into there. Some vintage music paper. And here's the back of that. This flips out. French paper. And here's that. This is 1840. And there is the back. Look at that stitching. So here she is. And for the baby journal that goes with it. So everything that goes with it. We'll go through the baby journal real quickly. Again, I'm using this beautiful to tie in with the journal, this vintage lettuce green sari silk. And I added a Battenberg beautiful doily, which wraps around this beautiful journal. I have a fabric rose printed out in fabric, and I stitched all along that. Sample stamp, and I just did a collage. Some vintage music paper and French paper, and it's binded document style. And in the back, I stamped Savannah Rose. And this journal is made out of those time cards, and I did spray it with I love the cream and the pink together. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Tim Holtz spray and tattered rose. Of course, I have to use my masking tape. I did a little stenciling, added a few goodies here from Esme's shop. We have this beautiful applique, and then we have this beautiful ruffle trim with pearls, attached with a pink ball pen. And on the inside, we have an avocado dyed paper doily, French book page. We have some pink dyed paper. And then I just have a little bit of leftover from the lace that I used for pockets in here. And I just attached it with one of Tim Holtz little clips there. We have some beautiful coffee dyed lace paper. Very old French book page. Some pink dyed paper with a heart clip and a French vocabulary card with a little mini brad. And an applique flower. I have a cigarette card here also in the back. We have some vintage wallpaper, and this was gifted to me by Marlene. Thank you, Marlene. I'm not hoarding. I'm actually using my stash. And here's some more of that lace. French book page. Some more of that pink dyed paper, French book page. And I just tucked in this postcard. And I put a sample stamp here on the bottom, and that just sits there. And this is the main attraction. I love this. This comes from an old lesson book. And I forgot to add my masking tape in here, which I will do. Pink paper, French book page, the lace, vintage wallpaper. Again, on this side, we have a cigarette card, and I'm using my pink heart clips. An old French book page. Here's that coffee dyed lace paper. I love that paper. My dyed pink paper. French book page, and here is the back with that avocado dyed doily. So that is the mini journal. It's really not so mini. It's just a small, well, it's small pocket. It's quite large, actually. It's like a little over half the size of the regular journal. So that is journal number 1, and I'm going to set this aside and we'll put this together, back together later. And also, I've included, because I have so many of these, which is going to go with every single journal too. I have these beautiful 5, you'll get 5 of them, lace collars with a French vocabulary card tied with some beautiful crinkled seam binding. So that'll go with that journal. I have so many and I just wanted to share it with you guys, so that is extra. Okay, I'm just going to kind of flip through these because it's pretty much the same. And look at how long this is, this collar. Isn't this collar gorgeous? I'm using it as the wrap for these journals. It's just beautiful. Here's that glass button. We'll take out my fox rose and we'll undo this. And this cover is done in the lightest beautiful gray. It is very vintagey gray hue with pinks and creams, and I loved it. So the sari silk that I chose is in shades of gray and pink, which wraps around this journal. And where are we at time? 21 minutes. So I'm going to get through these next 2 journals very quickly, ladies. And I love this collar. It's so long. It's just so beautiful. Esme's hunting for more for me for my next set of French document journals, which I will be creating this time. I'm going to use the covers and again in the pinks because I love it, and blues. So stay tuned for that. And here is the front cover of this one using Esme's beautiful, beautiful lace. Of course, it is binded French document style. I used my masking tape, Savannah rose stamp. I did stitching all around in olive green, or no, yep, I think so. No, a gray, a beautiful shade of gray thread. It's very beautiful. Esme's floral applique with a rhinestone, and I chose this brooch, which ties in perfectly with the rhinestone here and just the whole color of the front page of this journal. I love it. Sample stamp, and again using that vintage wallpaper, and we're going to go through this really quickly. This is dated 18 something, I can't entirely, but it is antique. French letter, beautiful vintage ledger, French letter of some sort with that beautiful sari silk. And then we have this beautiful lace pocket, which I did sew with my heart clip that you can see right there on the top. Little stamping with little ticket with sample stamp and a little floral applique. And on the inside, look at this vintage wallpaper. I have more coming in. Oh, it's gorgeous because I used it all up for my French document journals. I needed to. And again, you have these French, not really sure what they are, but they are old. So it's right in that pocket. And then we have this beautiful ephemera card. Sample stamp on the bottom that tucks right in there. And again, we have this beautiful flash card. I'm not going to take it out Again, it is sprayed with that Tattered Rose Tim Holtz Oxide Spray using the same applique and Latest Pink Floral from Esme's shop. Little rose applique here, avocado dyed French vocabulary card, and I did attach that with one of Tim Holtz little clips there. We have an antique ledger here, and I did use the Tim Holtz fabric washi on this one because I love the shades of gray in it. So you'll see that throughout this journal. And here is another one of the fabric washi tape. I love it. French book page. Here's that antique ledger, French book page. Here's some more of that beautiful fabric washi. And then we have this beautiful French. I just added a little pin here because I already had those holes in there. And it is very long. 1928. And it's a French receipt of some sort. Let's see if I can fold it the way it came. I think, yep, there we go. Vintage music paper. And on the back side, we have a vocabulary, French vocabulary. Beautiful applique. It's that washi tape, French book page. It's that pink, beautiful heart clip with this vintage postcard. It is written in the back, 1908. So beautiful. And here, I just added a little clip, Tim Holtz clip on the top here. This is another vintage receipt of some sort. I'm not entirely sure. Or document. It is stamped. It's wicked cool. And that was just folded up like so. It is delicate. Let's put that back in. And that clips right in there. French book page. Some French receipt of some sort. French letter. We have this vintage beautiful wallpaper, again with those, you have a couple in there. French, actually I'm not sure what they are. Some sort of like receipt of some sort. Little, I stamped the back with sample stamp, ephemera card, tucks right in there. We have a little ticket up there, which is just attached with a heart pink clip. I did some sample stamping in the back. That clips right up there. And then I created this tall ephemera card here. Just did use that vintage wallpaper, some of that vintage music paper. This paper up here that I stamped on is from an old book that I have. And I love the patina of it in the early 1800s. And I just use a sample stamp. French music paper, sample stamp here. Again, beautiful cream applique with a pink floral applique up there. And that clips right up there. I'm using that Tim Holtz washi, French book page, vintage music paper, very old. This is actually from the 1950s. It is in French. This one says 1949, so somewhere within that area. Here's the center of this beautiful, beautiful French letter of some sort. Again, main attraction. Looks like it was tied with an old pin of some sort at one point in time. It's beautiful. Everything in here is French. This beautiful postcard. It's written in the back. Let's see if I can find a date. 1911. Vintage ledger, and then I added this beautiful ephemera card I stamped in the back, sample stamp. Then we have this beautiful cabinet card with that pink clip up there. It is a postcard actually. Not sure the dates, but it looks old. This vintage wallpaper with this beautiful lace. We have this beautiful ephemera card here I stamped in the back. Then we have this old, I just put a little pin there. And we have this old French receipt of some sort. If I can get it. There we go. And that just sits right in there. An old French letter with some of that beautiful sari silk, fabric washi, French receipt, French book page, vintage ledger, French book page, vintage music paper, French book paper, antique ledger, that one's definitely antique, French book page, vintage ledger, and then we have this cabinet card or a postcard. It's very old. It is old. Nothing's written in the back. Here's that beautiful vintage wallpaper. I love it. With this beautiful lace pocket. And I like my sewing strings left on because it's just pretty. French vocabulary card, avocado dyed, a Tim Holtz brad with some little Esme snippets. We have this French, which I put Tim Holtz mini clip on there. And this is, I'm not sure what it is, but it's French related. Let's see. So cool. It's dated 1949. Let's clip that on there. There we go. And then we have some of that washi, French letter, vintage ledger, antique French page, and antique ledger, and that is the back, guys. It is so pretty. I love my sewing strings hanging. Gives it such a, I don't know. Love it. These are pretty heavy, guys, considering. So that is, oh, that is journal number 2. And again, I'm using this sari silk on this smaller journal in shades of pink and gray. I'm adding this tea stain Battenberg doily. And we're just going to flip through this real quick. Again, I added some goodies from Esme's shop. Did some stamping on the back, Savannah Rose. And I do have a sample stamp up there as well. And I did some stenciling. And again, it's sprayed. This time I used 2 different inks, in the Tattered Rose and also linen in the oxide spray. And the 2 colors combined on here is beautiful. And again, this journal is made out using those time cards. Let's put this back. So we're gonna, I did some collaging in the front. Here is that fragment of that lace coffee stain paper, and I did some sample stamping. Sample stamp, sampled stamp, some coffee stain paper. Binding is the same. French book page, music paper, some of that vintage wallpaper, and Esme's beautiful little floral applique here. I'm just going to flip through it quickly, guys. We have some pink lace, vintage music paper, French paper. We have some dyed grid paper. There's that beautiful lace. Here I just added a French vocabulary card and a ticket, which I believe I stamped in the back of this as well. I did, using the sample stamp. And it's attached with a mini clip here. And that's that coffee stained lace paper. I love it, it's beautiful. I added a cigarette card here on the back. Music paper, coffee stain paper, that beautiful grid paper that I dyed. Love it. French book page. Vocabulary card, French. Here's another ticket with sample stamp. This is on the coffee dyed paper, lace paper. The center. And I forgot to add, again on this one, to that masking tape, which I will do. French paper, dyed grid paper. It's just, I love it. Lots of space to journaling, guys. Lots of pages in here. And that is number 2. And then I'm going to set this aside. Sorry, guys. There's so much to these journals. I mean, you get a lot using all original. Not only do you get a tall journal, you get another journal. You get 2 journals. And then, of course, it'll come with these 5 lace collars, another French vocabulary card wrapped in this beautiful seam binding. And number 3. There's so many. Can you hold on for 1 second, guys? I'll be right back. I'm going to check to see if my daughter's here. Sorry, guys. I had to answer that. That is my daughter. I'm gonna hope she's on her way. Again, it's pretty much the same thing, guys. So I'm gonna basically not tell you everything. I'm gonna try to get through this. And again, this beautiful collar with a wrap with the vintage glass button on a pink ball pin. I'm going to slide that right out. and just pretty much show you the front cover. And yeah, again, using the vintage, like that olive green vintage with the creams and pinks. I used pink thread with sewing all around, sample stamp, Esme's beautiful applique with a rhinestone. I added this beautiful rose brooch with rhinestone. It's absolutely gorgeous. Sample stamp, stamped Savannah rose, and it's basically the same thing. I'm not going to take anything out. I'm just going to vintage wallpaper. It's all French items. This has the original stamp left in it. I'm not going to take it out, but it's pretty much the same thing, guys, just with, you know, different postcards. Very old, though. This is very old. That beautiful vintage wallpaper. Sewed all the lace on. It's so gorgeous. You have a little ticket up there. I love this wallpaper. I just, look at it. Is that not gorgeous? Stunning. I ordered some more from this. I ran out making all these Savannah Rose journals. Not going to take the card out, but it is collaged. It's using the time card here. I will take it out. Look at that embossing on that wallpaper. It's gorgeous. And I did some sewing along the side. I'm just going to go through this quickly. Vintage wallpaper. Beautiful lace pockets. Look at that wallpaper. This is dated November 4th, 08. It is written in the back. Gorgeous, gorgeous postcard. Oh my God, this is rag paper and it's gorgeous. That is the center of attraction, guys. I don't know if I can find a date, but it is very old. I've been hoarding these for some time. So beautiful. This is written in it. 1932, December 16th, 1932. It's like a cabinet card slash postcard. Vintage wallpaper. Then I created this tag. Tucks right in there. She's so adorable. Flashcard. So did some stamping just on the bottom there. Vintage wallpaper. Again, you have those, you get a couple of them. With that ticket that I stamped on there. Added Esme's Love It. Again, you have an old And there it is, guys. And that is my tall French. And then, of course, tall French document Savannah Rose journal. You get that. The same as the others. And here is this. You get a Battenberg doily. And again, on the back, you get some goodies, extra goodies, pink ball pin. Sample stamp up here. I sprayed it with that Distress Spray and Tattered Rose stenciling. Savannah Rose in the back here. Did some collaging in the front. Sample stamps. I sewed around this beautiful fabric image. Esme's little pink rhinestone and pearl floral applique. Sample stamp. And then vintage music paper. And just collaging with some French book pages. Avocado dye doily. Leftover lace with Tim Holtz little clip there. Coffee Date lace paper. That vintage wallpaper. French paper. Some more of that beautiful lace. Pink dye paper. French book page. French book page. Vocabulary card with a little brad and a little floral applique. A cigarette card here. And again, I have to add the masking tape in the center. I added this ephemera card, stamped in the back. French book page, pink dyed paper, French book page. And this is cool. I have to be careful. It's just a little piece with a little rusted pin that was still on there. I'm not going to take it apart, but it's wicked cool. It's in French. And that just tucks right in there gently. Some of that cigarette card, some of that lace, French book page, vintage wallpaper. I love that coffee stained paper with lace, pink dyed paper, French book paper, avocado dyed paper. And that's it, guys. And again, 7.5. I mean, that's like, it's really not a mini journal. And I don't, here's my ruler. It's like a regular journal, it's just small. 7.5 by 3.5. And it's beautiful. I love it. So that is my French document Savannah Rose journal. And again, they all get a bundle of the lace collars with the French vocabulary card tied with some beautiful ribbon. And yeah, guys, that is it. I'm gonna get my grandkids here in a little bit while she stops over at Hannaford and spend some time with them. And these will be listed in my shop later on this evening sometime after this video is uploaded. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Love you all, and stay tuned for the next video. Have a great weekend, guys. Blessed day. Bye.